This video is brought to you by Refurbished Goods. If you need good products at a low cost that are not stolen, Skylar Whiteyo has got your back. Welcome to Blood,
Sweat,
and Tears. I'm Damian.
I'm Thor.
And I'm Skylar.
And we're going to welcome our special guest today, Mr.
Wondra!
That's awesome, fellas. Thank you.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, I've seen you've been here since 2016.
Nearly 10 years.
Yes.
Yes.
That's a pretty long time.
I bet you've met some really talented students.
Yeah. I've had some really talented students throughout the years, and it's amazing how much further ahead they are at their age than I was at their age. They could absolutely do what I did for a living.
So here's one of the little personal ones. What was it like growing up in Wisconsin?
You guys did good research here. It was awesome. I grew up in the countryside of the Dairyland, so I literally had cornfields bordering my house, and would occasionally find cows roaming around in my front yard. That's a far cry from Silicon Valley, where a lot of video games are made. And so, as you can imagine, in the Dairyland of Wisconsin, there's not a lot of video game development going on. And so when I was your age, I was interested in designing games for a living, but there were no schools to go to learn this kind of a craft. I think there may have been one or two at the time that existed, Full Sail University in Florida and DigiPen in Seattle, and there was really nothing available. So I just grew up playing a lot of games, interested in making games, but I really didn't know how to go about going down that path of becoming a game designer.
What kind of games did you play when you were growing up?
Yeah, I grew up at almost the dawn of the gaming industry. I was born in '78, so I did have an Atari 2600 as my first console, and Space Invaders was my first love. I remember playing that at 4 years old, and that was fun for a while. And then a friend of mine got the original Nintendo, and when he showed me the original Super Mario Brothers, I was hooked. That was a whole different level of games. And from there, got Super Nintendo, PlayStation 2, Sega Dreamcast, and it just goes on. And now I've got consoles of all kinds from all the companies, and probably the Nintendo Switch is my go-to nowadays. Don't have the Switch 2, but it's been a love ever since I was 4 years old, and now I turn 48 next month, and I still love playing games.
Who doesn't?
That is amazing, man. So, what inspired your dream of game design?
I think for me, the one that really got me curious about it was the Final Fantasy series. I played the very first Final Fantasy back on the original Nintendo, and have played 1 through 12. I haven't played some of the more modern Final Fantasies yet. And I was always kind of curious as to how the games worked. What are those calculations going on behind the scenes? How much damage is being done when an enemy is destroyed? How much gold they drop? How much an item costs? And I'm kind of a stats nerd. Grew up loving sports and looking at sports box scores from like basketball and football games. And so I became very interested in kind of the numbers that went on behind the scenes of video games. And so as a game designer, eventually in the industry, that's a lot of what I did, is balancing numbers that would go on in the various games.
Super popular game, Wizard 101, and 2 DLCs for it. That's crazy. That's like one of the most popular games ever.
Yeah. After I worked on sports games, I decided to change it up, and I left those companies. I decided to move to Texas with my wife at the time. Found a game development studio out in Texas, working on Wizard 101, and I'd never worked on that style of game before, even though I always grew up loving Final Fantasy and RPG games. And I worked on that game as the systems designer, so that's where I got to balance the game. I was responsible for the distribution of equipment in that game, things like loot drops, how much items cost in the various stores throughout the world, that kind of thing. And it was completely different from sports games, and I worked on a much bigger team. But it's kind of ironic, to this day, that is the one game that most of my students know of. Most of them haven't played any of the Major League Baseball games or Sports Champions, but Wizard 101 is that game that really resonates with a lot of students.
Alrighty, well, thank you for your time. We loved having you.
Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure.
Been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
That's the whole
You guys
podcast.
did a great job.